Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I'm David Kerr from Lansing in Michigan, and these are your latest news headlines from around the world. Pope Francis has suspended the Secretary General of Caritas Internationalis. Caritas Internationalis is the confederation of 162 Catholic relief, development and social service organisations operating in more than 200 countries and territories worldwide. Earlier this year, the Vatican's Dicastery for Integral Human Development commissioned a review of the workplace environment at the Caritas General Secretariat in Rome to assess, quote, its alignment with Catholic values of human dignity and respect for each person. The conclusion of that review has now led to the removal of the present Secretary General, Aloysius John, and several other senior officials. Pope Francis has now appointed an Italian management consultant, Dr. Pier Francesco Pinelli, as Caritas's temporary administrator. He is now tasked with overseeing improved management policies and also to prepare for the election of new officers in May of next year. Meanwhile, Archbishop Nelson Pérez of Philadelphia has been appointed as the chairman of the U.S. Bishops' Catholic Relief Services. Archbishop Pérez will succeed Bishop Frank Caggione of Bridgeport, who has presided over CRS since 2019. The new chairman will begin his term immediately and will remain in post through to November 2025. Archbishop Pérez has been the Archbishop of Philadelphia since 2020. The US bishops established the CRS in 1943 to aid the World War II survivors in Europe. Since then, it's estimated that more than 130 million people in more than 100 nations on 5 continents have received aid from Catholic relief services. Catholics in Indonesia have been quick to help those affected by Monday's earthquake on the island of Java. The tremor, which registered 5.6 on the Richter scale, has so far killed over 250 people, injured over 1,000 others, and displaced a further 58,000 more. To aid victims throughout the stricken districts, Caritas Indonesia is collaborating with teams from Catholic charities in 3 local dioceses. They have dispatched a team to a meeting with the relevant authorities to coordinate future rescue efforts. People at a parish in the US state of Wisconsin have worked quickly to remove graffiti from an image of Jesus Christ situated on their parish grounds. The large tiled image of the Divine Mercy at St. Peter Parish in Kenosha was defaced with green spray paint letters on Sunday evening. The motive behind the act of vandalism is as yet unknown. Local police say that at present they don't have any leads. Pro-life advocate Lila Rose has spoken out in support of the actress Candace Cameron Bure after she announced that her new media company, the Great American Family Network, will only feature traditional marriage between a man and a woman in its films. The American movie star left the Hallmark Channel last year after 13 years and 30 films to put her energies into the Great American Family Network, where she doubles as chief creative officer as well as acting. Despite criticism from some quarters, Lila Rose posted a video on social media praising Mrs. Bure for creating something beautiful. Pope Francis has encouraged Christians and Jews to work together for peace and fraternity in a war-torn world because of their shared religious heritage. The Pope made his comments to a 200-strong delegation of the World Jewish Congress on Tuesday. He said a shared religious heritage of Jews and Christians should be seen as an incentive to act together for a more tolerant and peaceful world. The Pope urged cooperation towards a clear path for peace as conflicts continue to blight the planet, which he described as a defeat for all humanity. The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights is describing the present situation in Iran as critical. The Islamic nation has been rocked by protests since mid-September after the death of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini while she was held in police detention. She'd been arrested for supposedly violating the country's law on wearing the Muslim headscarf, the hijab. Over 300 people have since died as a result of the protests, which have included work stoppages and strikes. The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, say it remains deeply concerned by reports of children being killed, injured and detained due to the present public unrest. It's been reported that an estimated 50 children have so far lost their lives. In a statement, UNICEF said, "This is terrifying and must stop." Islamist militants belonging to the group Boko Haram have killed at least 10 Chadian soldiers in an attack on a military unit in Lake Chad province near the Nigerian border on Tuesday. That's according to a statement by Chad's government. The military unit had been dispatched as a precursor to setting up an army post in the island of Buka Tulurum, where Boko Haram has carried out several offensives in recent years. Meanwhile, an Islamist group in Mozambique have declared endless war on the country's army as part of an effort to establish a Muslim caliphate in the southern African country. The Islamic State of Mozambique are also demanding that all Christians and Jews either convert to Islam or pay tax if they don't want to be killed. The organisation's remarks were posted on social media, giving Mozambique's Muslims, Christians and Jews three options: pay taxes, subscribe to Islam, or embrace endless battle. In a particular threat to the country's army, the statement added, "We will escalate the war against you until you submit to Islam." Mozambique is a former Portuguese colony. Over 60% of the country's 32 million strong population identify themselves as Christian, with just less than 20% describing themselves as Muslim. Elsewhere, and police in Mali are investigating the abduction of a German missionary priest who is suspected of being kidnapped by Islamist terrorists. 65-year-old Father Han Joachim Lohr vanished on Sunday while he was getting ready to go and offer Holy Mass in an area of the capital city, Bamako. Father Lohr is a member of the Society of the Missionaries of Africa, also known as the White Fathers, and has spent more than 30 years in the West African country. So far, no one has claimed responsibility for the kidnapping, but Al-Qaeda and ISIS-affiliated Islamic organisations have already come under suspicion as they have a track record of kidnapping foreigners, including religious, and holding them for ransom. The Archbishop of Nigeria's capital city says the West African country needs leaders who are modelled on Jesus Christ. Archbishop Ignatius Ayu Kigama of Abuja says he believes that the majority of the problems Nigerians face today are caused by leaders who are unwilling to suffer for their people. The senior cleric made his comments in a homily to mark Sunday's Feast of Christ the King. They come ahead of the country's general elections scheduled for February the 25th in 2023. Archbishop Kigama says he finds it regrettable that instead of attending to the suffering of the people, Nigerian leaders have often gotten inside their comfort zone while stealing the country's wealth from the people. Finally, last year, young Argentinian seminarian Nathaniel Alberione spent 50 days in a coma due to the effects of COVID-19. On Monday of this week, he was ordained to the sacred priesthood. Father Alberione, who hails from Cordoba, was ordained by Bishop Joaquin Jimeno Lahoz of the Diocese of Comodoro Rivadavia in the southern region of Patagonia. The ordination took place in a local gymnasium in the city of Puerto Madryn, which lies on the coast of northern Patagonia. In a letter to Father Alberione, Pope Francis expressed his affection for the young priest and invited him to be a periphery priest, stating that being on the periphery is always preferable to being in the centre, since it allows for a clearer view of reality. The Pope concluded his message by assuring the young priest of his prayers. Well, that's your latest headlines for now. Do join us for more tomorrow. You can also join us at swnews.org for news updates. Shalom.